And the
podcast
begins with a song of rebellion.
How can this
podcast
be my life?
CD Burners.
All right, folks. Today is the day. Welcome to CD Burners, the episode I've been waiting to do my entire life. Today we're talking about brand new, your favorite weapon.
Well, is this the album that you've been waiting to do? I feel like this isn't the brand new album that you would have preferred to do. I feel like you would have preferred to do a different brand new album.
Yeah, I mean, it's not my favorite brand new album, but as far as like the importance of this album, there's a lot of interesting stuff to talk about with this album. I think it really shaped the entire scene for a minute. It was like a big cultural shift because of this album. It's not my personal favorite brand new album, but it is an incredible album.
I mean, I have a lot of thoughts is the thing. There's a lot of facts. The thing is, because we do 2 in a day.
We're recording 2 episodes in a day, guys. And for you guys, they're going to be spaced out. So it'll be brand new today. And then next week, you will get Taking Back Sunday, Tell All Your Friends. And there is so much crossover between those 2 albums and those 2 bands that it's kind of like a part 1 and a part 2 with these 2 episodes. This album came out first of the 2. It came out October 9th, 2001. Literally like a month after 9/11. Crazy. Here's my first impressions on this.
All right. I'm shutting up I'm going to shut up for a little bit.
I want to start off this pod by saying I understand the viewer now because I love Brand New so much. They're my favorite band of all time. And I know so much about this band. I'm not going to claim that I know everything about this band, but I do know a lot of the lore. In my research, it was incredibly frustrating to me to hear people get shit wrong. And I just want to say, I get it now. Like if somebody really fucking loves the Red Jumpsuit Apparatus and they're listening to you and I just say the wrong shit, get facts wrong and not know what we're talking about, and then they comment and they're so frustrated that we didn't get it right, I get it now because I was listening to I was listening to some podcasts, like doing my research. There's 2 that I usually listen to. There's like the Finding Emo one. There's the Pod Goes Punk. And they, do like a track by track breakdown. I was yelling back at the podcast. I was like, that's wrong. They're like this New Jersey band. I'm like, you fucking idiot. They're from Long Island. Like, how do you not know that?
Long Island.
So I just want to say, I love those podcasts. I'm sorry. I wasn't calling you a fucking idiot. I just meant to say, like, I feel the frustration that some of our viewers feel with us when we probably get the facts wrong about their favorite bands.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Here's the difference. We're getting the facts wrong. We know we're getting the facts wrong.
Sure.
Like, we're not just going, and this is what happened. I think a lot of the other podcasts, and I actually don't listen to those ones, so I don't know. I strictly am a Shane Told man myself. I think that we are like, at least I am like, I don't know. I'm guessing.
Yeah,
and
we're
maybe
like,
I don't know.
This is the podcast of misinformation. Like we always say that.
I am, but yeah, you empathize. I get it. No, I
and
get
like
it.
especially like
look,
they see the clip. And they don't get the disclaimer of like, guys, we know this is wrong, but
Yeah, I get it. I don't understand the same people that comment. I look every once in a while and I'm like, and it's like, all right, you fucking gross asshole. And then I like look at their page and they're like, everybody is awesome. And I love everybody. And I'm like, dude, you just like, it's fucking crazy to be like, I hate the way that you look and act and are, but then I love everybody and I do everything awesome. And like, I'm like the hypocrisy of online comments is like fucking insane to me.
I don't know. We're probably going to get some tough comments.
I don't care is the thing.
For even doing this episode.
It doesn't matter. I know, but signed up for it. And I think it would be really, really, I think what actually kind of sucks about it is that they're such an influential band and you can't can't really look at the timeline of what emo without saying brand new.
I was a little bit like offended, kind of like like last year over Christmas break. I spent some time reading "Where Are Your Boys Tonight" and that book by Amy Madden.
Yeah.
Both of them like intentionally left brand new a little bit kind of out of it. You know, there are slight mentions in "Where Are Your Boys?" Like you can't really talk about Taking Back Sunday or Long Island without at least mentioning it. Like Amy didn't put like any pictures of them, and I'm just like you can't like rewrite history. It's like looking back at like pop music and being like, yeah, but we're not going to talk about Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I get it. It's an insane. It's like, I don't like that, so I'm leaving it out.
Yeah, or like they did a bad thing, so I'm going to just like kind of rewrite history.
It's just not the way that things are. Like, it doesn't make sense. You can't just be like, well, that doesn't exist because I don't like it.
Like pretending it doesn't exist. Yeah.
Yeah, that does. So this brand new definitely exists and definitely had a humongous impact on emo music scene, and both you and I.
They are my favorite band. I have my first tattoo is brand new. It says "Fight off your demons, write songs in your sleep," and that is not even like a lyric. That was something that they posted on their website before they put out "The Devil and God," and I got that when I was like 18 years old, and I love this band. They are the reason why like I think emo night exists. You know, they really got me into this whole scene in a big way.
Yeah, they're like your saves of the day.
Yeah, and you can hear a lot of saves today in brand new.
It's awesome. Sure. I know. Yeah,
like in this album,
it's awesome. I know. It's like, you know, when I was doing, it was really, I found it really difficult to do research on them because of how much I like them. You know, the way my brain works is like, I find this interesting, I'm really going to dive into that. And then I'll find that interesting, I'm really going to dive into that, completely forgetting about the first thing that I was actually looking up. So there's just so much. And so I find them so deep and good and, you know, just so different than so many bands. It was really difficult to be like, here's a timeline, here's the things we're talking about, here's the things. But the one thing that I did find was that, you know, Jesse Lacey was is very influenced by like Saves the Day, in addition to a lot of other bands, you know, a lot of which you can absolutely hear in the trajectory of their music.
He's definitely influenced a lot by, you know, like Morrissey and the Smiths. He name drops Morrissey and the Smiths. And I think the way that he like writes lyrically, it's kind of like self-deprecating. There's a lot of words. He really kind of like is a lyric guy. He's a wordsmith. There's stuff on this album where I'm like, I don't know what his writing process is. He might be one of the people that writes lyrics like in a notebook and then just like tries to shove them into songs. But there's definitely songs where you're like, this MF spitting. Like he's like rapping at some points. Like we can get into some of the specific songs like 70 times 7 where he's like really packing words in. He had a lot to say. He's
a guy with a lot to say is the thing. And he is a genius. He's a genius person. And that's fine. That's my opinion. I think that, you know, listening to these albums, this album in particular, okay, there's a lot of facts. So go do that stuff before I do the thing where I'm just like, all right, here I'm talking about the band.
One thing that kind of colors this whole album is, I didn't actually know this. This album had to be re-recorded.
Yeah, classic band guy stuff. They're like, we don't like the way that sounds.
No, it's not that.
What is it?
Mike Sapone lost all the files on the hard drive, and they had to redo the whole thing.
That's like what happened when I got fired from doing this Slipknot thing, and they rehired this other director, and then that director lost the drive.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Well,
it's the first time I ever got fired from like a creative job.
This is, I don't know. I feel like we will always forever. This is kind of a repeated pattern with brand new. We will always forever wonder what this album would have been or would have sounded like on that first time through, because you are going to lose some like authenticity and heart if you literally have to go back in and redo the
100%.
whole fucking thing. Like that's
fucking
this
crazy.
is not going to be, no matter how great you play the guitar parts or how good you sing, like it's not going to have the same feeling or heart that first round did.
It's not even a round, dude. You know, you like, you're in a DAW, you're in like a recording fucking thing, and you're like, you put a guitar part down for the first time and you're like, that's fucking awesome. Like that's awesome. And then you accidentally delete it. You can't recreate that feeling the first time you did that single part. Imagine doing that with an album.
And the reason I say this is a pattern with Brand New is because when they put up this words on their website, fight off your demons, write songs in your sleep, that was the period in between Deja Entendu and The Devil and God. And they had, I think it was like 5 or 6 demos of the album that they were making that they were going to probably call like Fight Off Your Demons. And they leaked online, and the band was so pissed that they were just like, fuck these, fuck all these songs, fuck this whole album. We're throwing it all away and we're starting over. And then they made The Devil and God, which is arguably like, not arguably, like it is their masterpiece. So cool. Love that album. Not talking shit, but I always wonder what the album would have been like if they never trashed those demos. Like people, I think I tweeted it one time. People are like, what's your favorite Brand New album? Is it Devil and God? Is it your favorite Weapon? My favorite Brand New album is the album that might have existed if the demos for Fight Off Your Demons never leaked.
That's a take that's like one of your takes that I like. I really, really like that take. I think it's awesome. It's fucking crazy because it was difficult to listen to just this album because I was like, fuck, I forgot they put out a single in 2016. I forgot they put out
Science Fiction.
Which
full album
honestly is like
it's a good album.
It's weird to say.
It's not your favorite. Shut up.
It might be.
It's not.
I actually think it might be.
I don't think so.
I kind of think that it might be. But anyway, no, they put out like fucking I Am a Nightmare. Remember that song?
Yeah, that song's awesome.
It was hard to listen to this album because I was like, oh shit, I forgot they did this. I forgot they did this. I forgot they did this because they've been out of it for a minute. And so going back to this album in particular, which is called Your Favorite Weapon, 2001. Do we have I really do want to get like
okay. I'll go through the facts. I have a lot. This is tough because I have a lot of takes too.
Okay.
So we'll go through some facts here. It was released 2001 on Triple Crown Records. They got signed after their second show. Jesse Lacey, Garrett Tierney, Brian Lane, 3 of the guys from Brand New were all in a band before Brand New called The Rookie Lot with another guy named Brandon Riley.
Did you listen to that?
The Rookie Lot? Yeah.
It's fucking awesome.
So that was them just like doing Lifetime.
I love it. I really love it. And the band that they're in before that, like,
it's called God something.
Yeah, it sucks ass. It sounds like it's like jam band stuff, but it's high school. They're in high school. You know what I mean?
Jesse Lacey. Well, okay, Jesse and John Nolan were in a band together called God Munder.
Yeah,
and it sounds like a shittier like Pearl Jam. Like it's got more like jammy 90s vibe to it.
It's shit that like I don't like. But then if you listen to it, you're like, I can see how this turned into something later.
So Jesse and John did not play together in The Rookie Lot, but they did play together in another Long Island band called Taking Back Sunday. Jesse was the original bassist for Taking Back Sunday. His tenure in the band was probably about 3 months. We'll cover it more on the Taking Back Sunday episode. Jesse ended up leaving Taking Back Sunday for reasons that we'll talk about when we get into some of these tracks. And he started Brand New.
This is Morgan mode. This is The Rookie Lot. This is awesome. Like I love this band. And
wait. Look at this. New addition to the pod today.
Oh, wow.
The Ox.
Wow, cool. This
I
is
got
like
the 10-footer.
That's so sick. All right. Well, yeah, no. So anyway, this is the rookie lot. I don't want to play a lot of it. I don't know about like the copyright shit. This is kind of what it sounds like. And this is very in line with what I really, really loved and grew up with. It sounds there's like Get Up Kids. It sounds like a lot of
Sounds like shit.
I love it.
I know you do.
I literally think it's so cool. I think the other dude from Taking Back Sunday was in this band.
No, he was not.
Yeah, all right. Facts. Wrong facts.
It was Jesse Lacey, Garrett Tierney, Brian Lane, and Brandon Riley in the rookie lot. Brandon Riley then went off to play in the Movie Life.
Yes.
So
My
Jesse,
bad.
Garrett, and Brian then formed Brand New after Jesse was in Taking Back Sunday, left that band. He went back to his old bandmates and was like, let's start a brand new band and let's recruit this other guy, Vincent Icardi. He plays in other Long Island bands. He's a pretty good guitar player. And they started playing around. They made some small demos. They got signed after their second show. They self-released this demo and toured with Midtown and Glassjaw.
Obviously.
Once again, all roads lead back to Gabe Saporta.
Obviously. It's like the least surprising thing
Yeah.
whenever his fucking name pops up on any of this shit. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it on the Taking Back Sunday one too.
It's so dumb.
It's crazy. Fast facts, if Joni got any other ones.
They also did this tour. There was a tour that they did. I don't know when this was or before that, before or after, but they did this tour with Hot Rod Circuit and Recover.
That was way later.
Way later, but there is a Hot Rod Circuit fact that I would like to put out on this pod.
Spit it out.
The best and one of the coolest albums that is not available on Spotify that I listen to all of the time. It's a Hot Rod Circuit album.
And it's only on YouTube.
And it's only on YouTube.
I think you put this. I think you said this before, and you did play it before.
I played it in the office yesterday.
That's what you were playing?
This is what I was playing in the office. It's called The Underground is a Dying Breed. And it's fucking incredible. And I
think on one of the episodes you did it, if you like this, you might like that. And you did talk about this.
This album is so goddamn good, and it's not on Spotify. It's not on like streaming services. So it's called The Underground is a Dying Breed. If you I think this is a good opportunity on these podcasts, especially when we're so heavily invested in this music and like these bands, to be like, go listen to this. If you
There's a part of the episode that we have called If You Like This, you might like that.
But that's not. Then I guess, all right, well, then I'm just going to do that.
The album sold over 315,000 copies eventually. They did this thing where after they released Deja Entendu, they like packaged it together with this. So I think that helped a lot. And that's pretty much all I had for fast facts about this. There's a lot of lore that we can get into if you want to dive into some of these standout tracks.
No, there's more stuff about them beforehand that I would like to, like, because I found out a lot of stuff. It's like, I never heard of this band. They went on tour with this band. They did this with this band. They played a lot with this band. And there's another band that I found here.
Just trying to talk about other bands.
But I'm hearing like all of the stuff that they're influenced by and like friends with, like during this time in like 99, 2000, 2001, that I think is like, I don't know, somewhat necessary for a podcast that is like, here's the thing about this album and band in the time.
I think you just got the aux and now you're like, oh, I'm not
going to play this band, but they went on a band called Orange Island that like, I guess they played a lot with. And I don't know, I've been listening to them since we started doing this. It's like, they're really funny. It's like they're like pop punk music, but if you took away the pop punk, like completely, I don't know what that is. Maybe post rock.
Music.
Yeah. It's really funny. It's like pop punk, but then take all of that away. It's really interesting. Okay. Your Favorite Weapon was produced by Mike Sapone, friend of the band.
We can talk about Orange Island if you want.
They're good. Nothing. I found it really interesting to be like, all right, I didn't know any of this stuff that he was so influenced and like worked with. And I don't know, you're like so close and tight knit in that community.
Yeah.
And for me to not, at least know the name of some of these things
Yeah, I've never heard of Orange Island
Yeah,
before.
me neither. And so and they toured a lot with them, I guess.
Where are they now?
I don't know. All right, sorry.
Well, standout tracks, and then I feel like we can get into like the real fucking the lore here. And obviously the big one off of this album is 70 times 7, which is a diss track for John Nolan. John Nolan and Jesse Lacey were childhood friends. They grew up together, and they obviously played in bands in high school together. They were in Taking Back Sunday together. And I guess they liked the same girl. John made out with this girl. And Jesse was like, what the fuck, bro? Why did you do that? You know that I liked her. It pissed Jesse off so much that he quit Taking Back Sunday. And he started Brand New. And he wrote this song. And it is quite intense. And if you read the lyrics, it's literally like wishing that John Nolan would get into a car accident and fly through the windshield and die. Because he kissed a girl that Jesse likes.
I love it. I think it's so funny. I want to say something about like the lyrics on this album in particular. It was the first time that I heard lyrics that sounded like this. I do want to like it sucks because I hate using the lyrics were honest, but like this was the first time where I was like, oh, this person's like not lying to me or putting like, and while you look back at it, you're like, yes, that is like corny 19-year-old the way that you feel about shit, like for sure. I think it was really like, when you heard this and I was my age and I heard this, I was like, holy shit. Yeah. Like, I was like, holy fuck, you can do that? I was like, you can say that stuff in this music? So I think the lyrics are incredibly important and telling of where Jesse Lacey and Brand New and where they were going.
There's a couple songs on this album that I feel like are really indicative of where they are going. There's Mixtape, there's the No Seatbelt song, and there's Soco Amaretto Lime. And to me, those all have glimmers of Deja Entendu. They're like the slower, like a little bit more introspective. They have like usually like a longer intro. It's less of the driving pop punk sound and more of whatever Deja Entendu is classified as.
You can already see like how and this is about Brand New, and I like hate to compare, but just because they're so the albums and the timing of everything and the lore behind it, but like I hate to compare it to Taking Back Sunday, but like, you could see where Brand New was by naming, a verse, a song after a verse in the Bible, and like how deep.
Yeah, that's something that happens. I mean, 70 times 7 is, if you don't know, it's named after a Bible verse. I think it's like Matthew 18:22 is what I wrote down here. And that's basically when somebody asks Jesus, like, how often should you forgive your neighbor? 7 times? And he's like, no, 70 times 7 times. And that's an interesting pattern that you see throughout the names of this song, of this album, like all the names of the songs. If it's not, just a lyric from the song or like the chorus, it is something that gives a little bit more context to the song, which I think is really cool. I don't think that any other band really does that. Like Jude Law in A Semester Abroad, at no point does he ever, in the lyrics to the song, say this is about a girl who's doing a semester abroad and going to England. Well, he does say, tell all the English boys you meet, but he never says like, this is, a relationship that is strained because she's doing a semester abroad. But you learn that because of the title of the song, which I think is a really cool tool.
Who is up beating their box? Well, you should be, because this episode of CD Burners is sponsored by Beatbox. Emo Night actually DJ'd the Beatbox Art Car at the end of last year at Apocalypse Fest and at Emo Night Day. It was so fun chugging the blue raspberry and jamming out with the Night Fam all day. Guys, grab a Beatbox at your next local emo night or show before hopping into the pit And thank you so much to Beatbox for sponsoring this episode of CD Burners and supporting Emo Night.
To reference history and religion in a way that isn't like corny, and also being so young and doing it is very telling of who Brand New is. You're writing songs about relationships for the most part, but in a lot of the ways they're introspective looks at like mortality and life and interactions and how we, values, and to relate it back to something that is the book that was, the best-selling book of all time, the Bible is, to be so young and to do that is very, impressive. And while I do think some of the lyrics are emotionally immature, you're an emotionally, kind of immature person at that time.
Yeah, I mean, the song is clearly about like something that is so stupid and like,
yeah, it rocks.
As a 35-year-old or whatever, I'm sure even like when he was 25, he was like, wow, I've really like quit Taking Back Sunday and wrote this like diss track because he fucking kissed a girl that I liked. Like that's on the surface, it's kind of an immature topic, but like he is very poetic and smart with his songwriting.
In 2004, he said that he was like ashamed of your favorite weapon.
Yeah.
Which I get for sure, especially when you make something like Deja Entendu and The Devil and God. I understand.
Well, that was like the peak of their career too, or not really. I mean, that was like the middle of their huge breakout because Deja Entendu came out in 2003. And then, they really kind of blew up and they became kind of this massive, massive, different sounding band in the scene. This is pop punk. Like they're really kind of doing like what a lot of other people are doing. But Deja Entendu, which we'll definitely have to do an episode about, which is funny because it's called Deja Entendu means already heard. It doesn't sound like the other stuff that was happening in the scene at that time.
It's so goddamn good. I don't know, like, you say pop punk, right? Like if you listen to the mixtape, you're like, there's no difference between this pop punk chord progression and the way you do it, the way that other bands do it, than anything. And then you're like, oh, this is brand new. And somehow it becomes different. And that's kind of the way that I feel about this album because of who they are and what they became and like the legacy. And yes, on face value, you're like, this is a pop punk album. But if you know anything about them, it's so much more. And I think, there are a lot of albums and a lot of bands that just like, they do the destroying their instrument shit at the end, letting shit ring out and like turning off and on the volume and like the tone and shit. Brand New did that on this album a couple times. And the way that they did it, knowing where they were going, felt like it was done intentionally for the music and for the story of the band, where it's not just noise, it actually means something. If that makes sense.
Like on what songs?
What's the end of, I don't know, I forgot it's a very...
I mean, Mixtape definitely has that.
It might be the end of Mixtape.
Give me that aux.
All right, take the aux. But like, this is, I don't know. And I might be looking into it too much, right? Where they might just have been fucking around.
Well, you have to remember too, when they're fucking doing that, they're doing it for the second time, So I don't know.
This, yeah.
I mean, this song Mixtape starts off beautifully. It's just like the way it builds, and then it gets massive to end, and it just ends in chaos.
Yeah, and this is the chaos.
And that's definitely intentional.
This is the chaos but right. I feel like when other bands do that chaos stuff, it comes off as, we're just being like kind of punk about shit. And this felt like intentional chaos, if that makes sense. Like it feels like it tells a story.
There's another song on here where they're really like kind of playing with feedback, the No Seatbelt song. Like you have this feedback sound that's happening literally like the whole fucking time. And it's not necessarily distracting, but it adds something to the song. Like if that was just the guitar and the vocal,
if you like knocked out that frequency,
like it wouldn't be as, it wouldn't hit as hard.
Eerie and like haunting.
For sure.
Yeah, like that. I think that's like a pretty good word to describe a lot of this stuff. Is like there is a haunting, an underlying hauntingness. Is that a word?
Yeah.
About Brand New.
You know what I decided that I don't like about this album?
What?
I don't like this fucking guitar solo at the beginning of this.
Yeah, it sucks.
It's so corny.
Yeah, it sucks.
Wait, let's get to it. It just sounds like it's teenage boy guitar solo.
Yeah, but
it adds nothing.
Right. But you can't listen to this song without thinking about that now. And it's like the way that they take it down after that, like it might be intentional, right?
Well,
like that is so happy.
The bridge. Absolutely. So this is the bridge that leads us into Taking Back Sunday, right? Like there is a Taking
This is
Back,
probably the most famous bridge of all emo history.
so good.
Yeah, that's probably the most famous bridge of all emo history.
If you guys don't make it to the second Taking Back Sunday episode that we're going to do after this, so that song was written about John Nolan, as we talked about earlier. Taking Back Sunday takes all of the lyrics from that bridge and puts them into their song, There's No I in Team. And they create essentially like the first emo hip hop beef. Like there was all this beef going on between like Ja Rule and Jay-Z. And is that what it was? I don't know. I'm not a
Jay-Z
hip hop
and
guy.
Nas.
Jay-Z and Nas. Yeah. Jay-Z and Nas had beef, and, you know, they were writing diss tracks to each other, like Kendrick and Drake. Like it happens all the time in hip hop. But this was the first time this was happening in emo, where you were like literally calling out people in the same music scene as you and writing directly about the experience. And it caused a frenzy. Like people were picking sides. People just constantly talked about this story. I don't know about for you, but like
It made me pick a side.
Constantly people were like, oh, what side are you on? Brand New, Taking Back Sunday. Did you hear about, you know, the story behind this bridge? Do you know about this song? It's pretty genius of the two of them. And I think that part of me thinks that it was like intentional, you know, because like if you look at their touring history, they did tour together. I think Jesse probably overreacted to what John did, but I think at some point they were able to squash it, or at least see the value in maintaining the beef.
It really wasn't like that large of a thing, and it was over, and they were chill like afterwards. And what I think happened is like this small incident was the cause of writing to like really like some really great art around it. And while it wasn't the thing itself, it's what it caused. And the reaction
the
to
butterfly effect of it.
It's also incredibly strange. Like I know it's like, sure. Yes. You were talking about like the beef that happened. Like we didn't see this at all. This wasn't a thing because it was such a community based, like everybody was, you know, kind of together. And it was just an interesting blip in the timeline of the world and the history of emo that we saw this happen. Other artists have written shit about other artists all the time. I think like the Beatles even did it. Like
Beatle?
John Beatle and John and those guys.
Vinny?
Like, yeah. John and Vinny had a beef. They had beef together. They made a beef sandwich.
They put the beef on a pizza.
Yeah. But they like, I think even they did it, but it wasn't like so in your face. You had to really, really be invested.
Yeah. Didn't Beatle and Rolling Stone have a beef?
Who the fuck knows, dude?
I think they did. And there's like all these like Easter eggs kind of like on the Sgt. Pepper cover where they're like calling out the Rolling Stones or like making fun of them or something.
Yeah, I mean, like,
and then the Rolling Stones and the Beach Boys had beef.
Yeah, I mean, like, this shit rocks. Like, it is that for our scene.
It was.
You know? And I think that is the importance of it, because we didn't have anything. Like, I can't really think about another humongous, like, public thing that people still talk about as if it happened yesterday.
We just finished our interview with Travis from We the Kings, and Miss Taylor Swift came up. And I think, you know, I don't want to, I'm just speculating once again, but I do think that maybe this style of calling out your enemies publicly in a song was such a big part of emo that I think Taylor Swift was influenced by that in her songwriting and the songs that she puts out, where she calls out people in her life who have wronged her. And it's fun for the fans. Like, Swifties spend so much time like dissecting the lyrics and being like, oh, this is about Carly Kloss, or like, this is about Scooter Braun. And that's part of the fandom. And that's what this was for us. Like, I remember going on to the Brand New forums and just like talking with people about the lyrics and like the meanings behind each song. And it was the first time that I had ever had that sort of opportunity to do something like that with music. And I think that really engaged me and a ton of other people, brought them into this genre and was like, oh shit, there's a real beef here. This is fun. I'm going to sit and listen to this over and over again. And I'm going to read about the lore and like figure out how this all works together. And oh my God, they quote each other on this song. And then you go into the liner notes of this album and you see that John Nolan actually has a writing credit on one of these songs on Magazine. And you're like, wait, isn't that the guy that stole Jesse's girl? Crazy. And just makes you want to like dig in so much further. And you get into this rabbit hole of all these Long Island bands and this whole scene and figure out how everybody's interconnected. A lot of drama around this. And I think it really catapulted this scene into a new direction.
It was like, our own first little reality show type feeling situation, because we never had that, we didn't have those types of things. And so I wonder if Jesse, he's like, yeah, that was good, or like really regrets it because, it's hard to bring up Brand New without like a couple of things, and this being one of them. And usually some of the last of those things that you bring up is how goddamn good they were. Unfortunately, or fortunately, it put this mark on them. And which is, as somebody who is like musical and talented and gives a shit about, what I can assume gives a shit about songs and music and art, to have this be the forefront of the things that people are interested in is probably like, fuck, dude, that's not what I wanted, and that's got to be like maybe that's why, who knows, but
maybe, but they definitely played into it.
Yeah, they played into it, dude. I mean, Brand New made they made this merch, which is the coolest merch ever. And I'm going to buy it.
Yeah. Did you look on eBay?
Did you look on eBay?
No, but I was thinking about it. I had one of these, but
the shirt that we're referring to is a shirt that says,
mics are for singing, not for swinging.
Yeah, because Taking Back Sunday was very notoriously known for swinging the microphone and doing that type of shit. And
Taking Back Sunday put out a response shirt, which was stupid. It was like proudly swinging since 2001.
Yeah, I mean, because you can't really beat that shirt. You can't really beat like Mike's.
Nobody ever talks about the response shirt, but everybody still references the mics are for singing shirt.
I looked up one of the hoodies. Guess how much?
How much?
$777.
70 times 7. Crazy.
$777.
Woo!
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, for a real one. But I was like, no, I can't do that.
So yeah, like we said, John Nolan has a writing credit on Magazines. Very interesting. All the rest of the songs are written by Jesse Lacey and Vincent Accardi. This album was produced by Mike Sapone, I think he's just like a local New Jersey, Long Island guy. He ended up not doing Deja Entendu, but he came back and he did The Devil and God, which is crazy to me because this album sounds so like young and amateur-ish. Like the production is it's not polished at all. Like it's really kind of jangly and put together, and like they use the same snare throughout the whole thing. It's not really like a production masterpiece, but The Devil and God is a production masterpiece. I think it's so fucking cool. They get some of the most interesting sounds out of their guitars, and the way that it's mixed. Everything about that album is really fantastic. And, that was Mike Sapone. And I think they maybe kind of just grew together. But Mike Sapone doesn't have a shit ton of credits that I recognized. He did Taking Back Sunday, Where You Want to Be, another incredible album from the scene. He did The Devil and God, but the rest of it he didn't do.
What else did he do?
He did one song off of Deja Entendu. He did the last song, Play Crack the Sky, which is just the acoustic ender. So if you look on Wikipedia and you see his name listed as a producer, it's just for the one song. So don't get it twisted, hoes.
After all this, drama shit, they there's a lot of video of them
playing together.
It's awesome. It's really, really, really cool.
Yeah, Jesse would come out during Taking Back Sunday playing There Is No I in Team. John would come out during 70 times 7. There was one video that I found that was uploaded 2 weeks ago. It's just been sitting on somebody's hard drive or something. Also, on the brand new subreddit, this guy has been just cataloging like every single show. So it's like a full archive of every brand new show.
Like full shows?
I haven't dove into it yet, but you can go and like download it off of the Google Drive.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's sick. But I haven't like fully dove into it.
I think that is, it's also, this is an important thing to bring up. There are diehard brand new fans. Like there are people that do that type of shit. Like they are a band that
they have a cult following.
Yes. Yeah. Cult following is a really good way to describe it. Another lesson that I think that we can take from this is, that entire thing that happened, that was such a humongous deal, ultimately was really fueled by
ramen,
by the internet and people saying stuff that they didn't know, and that catching on fire, and that being like, oh, this actually happened. And, at some point the artists kind of either they have to run with it. So it's a good lesson in being like, oh yeah, maybe everything on the internet and everything that I read about everybody and everything isn't necessarily the right thing from fucking whatever,
podcast
Wine Dad 12 on fucking Reddit. You know what I mean? Like maybe Wine Dad 12 isn't the source, the end all be all of information. So I don't know. I think it's like because ultimately if I think, they were to tell their side of this and it happened in real timeline, wouldn't have been that big of a thing.
I don't know. Jesse seemed pretty pissed.
I mean, he did, right? Yeah, he wrote the song that he wrote is pretty fucking rough.
Yeah, I mean, he quit Taking Back Sunday and everything, but
yeah, well, then he made Brand New, so good job.
And Adam Lazzara replaced Jesse, so Taking Back Sunday, as we know it, wouldn't even exist. It's just such a butterfly effect of maybe it seemed like the worst thing in the entire world at the time, but both of them definitely turned lemons into lemonade here.
Like we said, there's a lot of cult stuff about it. Pulled some really good quotes from Reddit for these about this album. I always think that I don't really like it at all that much anymore, but when I actually sit down and listen to it, I still love it. It's what got me into Brand New, and I'd say it's what got me to start listening to non-mainstream music when I was 12 or 13. It's such an important album that came to me in my teenage years, so I'll always hold a very special place for it in my heart, even though as an adult I connect with all of their other albums more. It is my favorite brand new album. First one I ever heard, as it was the only one that they had. I enjoy every album, but this one is upbeat and fun. The others, I really have to be in a me mood. Your Favorite Weapon, I can pretty much throw on anytime and any place. I feel like the fans want to seem edgy and superior by not recognizing it, like they're too cool for it. But the bottom line is that it is brand new. And I think that that's a really nice, I think that that's actually accurate. I think that that is an accurate statement that like what this person put out. And
I don't know about anybody not recognizing it or not saying it's not important. I think
this part, like they're too cool for it.
No, I think if you appreciate brand new, you appreciate the evolution of them, because every album they did something different. They really, I can't think of a band that, I don't know, there's probably a bunch, but I don't like any other band that has done as drastic of shifts album to album. Every single one of them is like a chapter in their life and their growth as artists. And I think you can't really write off the early work, like Your Favorite Weapon. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that a real brand new fan writes off Your Favorite Weapon. Everybody recognizes it and appreciates it.
You know, there's a lot of people online that were like, I don't fucking listen to this shit.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think that Daisy is the worst album that they've ever made. And a lot of people disagree with me on that. I have a whole theory about Daisy, which is that I don't think that Jesse wrote any of it.
It's not my favorite album from them. It's my least favorite album from them.
Here's my theory on Daisy, even though this isn't an episode
Doesn't
about
matter.
Daisy.
Who cares?
If you look at the liner notes, like on the back cover of The Devil and God, they put initials for who wrote every single song, and all of them say JL, JL, JL for Jesse Lacey, except for the last song, which is Handcuffs, and it says JL/VA, Vincent Accardi. I think that Vin wrote Handcuffs, and if you listen to Handcuffs, the lyrical style, the songwriting style of that song more closely resembles the songs from Daisy than it does anything else in Brand New's catalog. So I think that Vin wrote Daisy. And this is when if you look at Daisy, that's when they stopped listing who wrote every single song.
Bro, it was one of the ones where like, I don't really know. It was one of the ones where I was like, all right.
That's my conspiracy. I don't think I've ever said that online or posted it on the forums or anything.
I
might post it on the forum and see if anybody agrees with me, but they like Daisy. I don't like Daisy.
Yeah, the thing is I like that people do like it. And I like that this is the thing about Brand New is that there is so much to relate to and appreciate. It is really funny because I keep finding like words that
parts of their lyrics.
Yeah, they
reference themselves in their lyrics, which is crazy because I don't know any other songs that do that other than Limp Bizkit.
Knock Loose says some stuff.
Did they say Knock Loose?
Yeah, they say Knock Loose, motherfucker.
Oh yeah, they do that. Yeah,
that rocks. I like it when bands say that.
But
shit. Not a lot of bands do that.
Hip hop does it.
Yes,
there's a lot of hip hop elements that Brand New has taken, like shouting yourself out in your own songs and then starting beef with another band.
We could, I think, dissecting like who Brand New is and what they are and what they represent could be, an infinite podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. I would do that.
I really do think that they're such a complex band.
You could definitely, like, I went to Berklee College of Music and they had classes on like worse stuff. Like I could see there being a class on Brand New and like fully, like you could make a semester's worth of material out of that.
Let me say some more Reddit stuff. The most noteworthy thing about the album is that it is the first Brand New album. And while that is a true statement, an easy statement, it's a really easy statement to say that is powerful in itself. It's, this is the rest of it. It's a completely competently done pop punk album with some nice hooks, but there is nothing setting it apart from the other 50 albums from the same time period. Don't get me wrong. It's one of the better done pop punk albums, just nothing unique to it. And the only reason it's still talked about today is because of what Brand New did after it.
So true. I think that's really good.
It's a very good quote. And I mean, look, I love this album, like this style of music.
Yeah, you
a lot.
like bad music, so
Yeah,
this
I
makes
like
sense.
this stuff.
What are your, if you like this, Orange Island? And
Hold on. This is really funny. Like if you look, type in brand new on just like Google, it's like people also ask, is brand new a good band? Like it's like really
Just asking Google?
just asking Google to be
Should
like,
I like this?
yeah, it's really, really, really funny. And also the other thing that it brings up after that, it goes, what's the coolest band ever? It's just like 8-year-olds typing in shit.
Cool bands.
And I can tell you what Google suggests as the coolest bands.
What is it?
Eagles, Van Halen, Rolling Stones, Jimi Hendrix, Pink Floyd, Queen, Beatle.
Okay, Google.
If you like this, there's so many things. There's just so many things. I'm going to try and pick something in like this world.
Give me 3.
God, dude.
Orange Island.
No, I actually don't think that is the case. I liked that stuff. That hot rod circuit. Recover is a big
Dan
one.
Keys.
Dan Keys has played a big part in my life that he has no idea that I think that Recover is so fucking good. He also had another band where he tried to like rebrand and it was called Young Love. And
Right.
I really liked a lot of that stuff, but I didn't like all of it. It was like when he was like, I'm going to be a pop guy. It was like, he was like Gabe Saporta light. He was like,
We talked about him on the Gabe episode.
he was like Gabe Saporta light. He just never quite got that thing, but he was always pretty like involved in, I love Dan too. I really respect Dan a lot. Then there's some alternative rock stuff.
Pick one.
I think that you could probably, people are going to probably rip me apart for this thing, but like, I think that there's like some Arctic Monkeys stuff, especially with the way stuff sounds, And, there's a lot of, you're like, he was listening to Saves the Day, but at the same time, he's also listening to like Foo Fighters.
Yeah, they do have that like 90s little bit of like butt influence. And that does come out like a little bit in their later stuff.
Yeah. It's like very good alternative rock. There's like very good alternative rock that this stuff.
Like Deftones.
I don't hear.
You don't hear any Deftones
in it.
I think Deftones. I think there's some 9 Inch Nails in there.
What are you saying? Are you just
not on this album?
Oh, okay.
But I think later, brand new. Like,
I was like, what?
He really lets his like Nirvana come out a little bit more.
Dude, I mean, Science Fiction is it could have been a Nirvana album.
Yeah,
is in my opinion, and I think that that's like why it is like one of my favorite albums from them.
I wrote down this band that Mike Sapone also did in the later years. It's fairly new. Mansions. I really liked Mansions.
Oh yeah, I remember Mansions.
Every time Erin is a big fan. I never really like dove into it, but every time she'd play it, I'd be like, what is this? And then it's always Mansions. Like anytime it would come on. Manchester Orchestra, band that I discovered when they were touring with Brand New. Really, really incredible lyricist and an amazing band. And then I wrote down Saves the Day and Morrissey, obviously. Modest Mouse. I found there's a lot of bands that
Modest Mouse is a pretty good. That's a good one. That one's pretty
like
good.
Early Modest Mouse and like this album kind of go hand in hand a little bit. Like you can definitely see the Modest Mouse or hear the Modest Mouse influence a little bit.
There's some balance and composure stuff. There is like Microwave is always like Microwave's a pretty good.
Microwave and Mansions are kind of similar in my eyes.
Like looking through my stuff and to see if there's any like a good new one. There's 2 actually like kind of good new ones that I'm like, oh yeah, I could see this. The Hotelier.
Oh yeah.
And this band
Foxing.
And this band Prawn. There's a band called Prawn that I think has a lot of that. So I think we gave you guys a bunch of stuff.
I think the Hotelier like kind of went off track though. They have one good album. And then the other ones are like, you're trying to reinvent but like Brand New, but you lost the plot here.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's Ian Cohen just jacks off about it online.
Okay. All right, guys. The final, if you like this, you might like that. Taking Back Sunday. If you like Brand New, you definitely like Taking Back Sunday. So stay tuned for the next episode of this podcast where we talk about Taking Back Sunday. Tell all of your friends. Tell all your friends. There's no of in there. Tell all your friends next week on the pod. And we'll talk about how these two bands intertwined, continuing the butterfly effect.
Cursive is another good one.
Cursive is another good one.
Let it stand. Brand New fucking rocks.
All right. Thank you guys for listening to CD Burners, and please give us a 5-star review wherever you listen to your pods. Spotify, maybe go on YouTube. You can watch us. You can look at our ugly asses.
Yeah, and then be like, you're so shitty and gross. And then be like, I love everybody. I'm a fucking great person. No, you're not. You're a fucking asshole.
Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you soon.